Okay. Um, Welcome to Environmental Charter Middle School Gardena. This is our summer bridge orientation. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you for being here. My name is Dave Trejo. I am the principal of ECMS Gardena. Some of the other faces that you'll see during summer bridge include Dr. Ramirez Holden, who's coming back from maternity leave, Mr. Dean Davis, and our wonderful counselor, Ms. Corey Andrews.
You'll also see Mr. Moreno, our social worker, our EOD coordinator, Ms. Mohe, our lead operations assistant, Ms. Camarena, and our office coordinator, Ms. Anna Garcia, as well as Ms. Gabby, our office manager, Mr. Michael or Mr. Salone, our campus engineer, and Ms. Rodriguez, our attendance clerk and parent community liaison. So today we will allow you to meet some of our staff, so myself and Mr. Trejo, and get you excited for the school year, as well as discuss what Summer Bridge is and review our program details. We'll review some important dates and provide a space for questions.
So we have important dates that are coming up this summer. So obviously, summer bridge is July 17th through the 21st. It's Monday through Friday. Monday through Thursday, we are done. We start at 8 a.m. and are done by 12 p.m. We want students in classrooms at 8 a.m. sitting down and ready to go, which means you should drop them off no later than 7:55. You can pick them up at 12 p.m. Drop off will be in the back parking lot, and we'll show you a map later on in this presentation. On Friday, we want to drop them off at the same time, but we want you to pick them up at 1 p.m. because we'll be taking them on a field trip. Another important date that is for all students, grades 6, 7, and 8, is August 18th. It's a Friday. It's the one opportunity during the summer where you get to meet the teachers before the school year starts. Teachers won't have any formal presentation, but you'll be able to meet them, greet them, see a classroom, get your child's schedule, pick up extra uniforms if you haven't bought any before then, but you should have some for summer bridge, get school supply lists, and sign up for the after school program. The first day of school is Monday, August 21st, and our school schedule is from, we serve breakfast from 7:30 to 7:50. The bell rings at 7:55. During the regular school year, Monday we get out at 1 o'clock, and Tuesday through Friday we get out at 3:15. So I like to go over our mission whenever we are starting meetings, because I want to make sure that our meetings are mission aligned. Everything that we propose is mission aligned. And if you ever have ideas or feedback or suggestions for what we should do, I generally ask folks that they ensure that they're familiar with our mission, so that as they make recommendations for our program or give feedback, that it's mission aligned. And if you ever feel that our school or any one of my staff or myself are not living up to the mission, I invite you to call us out and remind us of our mission and what we introduced. If we could go back one slide. So
Yes, I'm sorry.
Our mission is to reimagine public education in low-income communities of color, to prepare conscious, critical thinkers who are equipped to graduate from college and create a more equitable and sustainable world. The things that I want to highlight there in particular are, we want to prepare conscious, critical thinkers. There's so much misinformation out there. There's artificial intelligence. There's videos that are made up that are called deep fakes, where you're convincing people that things happen that never happened. So our job is, and so much biased information on social media, that our job is not to prescribe what your children should think or tell them how they should vote. Our job is to ensure that they know how to think and that they use facts and real information when they're making their decisions. We also want to make sure that they're equipped to not only get accepted into college, but to graduate from college. We don't want them to have to drop out of college because they weren't prepared to graduate and end up with student loans but no degree. And then we want them to know that they're a part of creating a more equitable and sustainable world.
You may notice a brief pause after every slide, and that's because we're giving our interpreter time to catch up as he translates live. Now I'd like you all to watch a video from last year's Summer Bridge.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy, I'm alone if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy, I'm alone if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy, I'm alone if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy, I'm alone if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Give me all you got, don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy, I'm alone if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy, I'm alone if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy, I'm alone if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy, I'm alone if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. The love is too high. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, take it down. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. The love is too high. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, because I'm happy, I'm alone if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy, I'm alone if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy, I'm alone if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy, I'm alone if you feel like that's what you want to do. Because I'm happy, I'm alone if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy, I'm alone if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy, I'm alone if
Okay, so why Summer Bridge? Well, it's an opportunity for incoming students to become familiar with ECMS Gardena, as well as make new friends, meet the 8th grade mentors, learn the various online tools we'll be using, and understand the expectations of ECMS Gardena. So what does your child need to start Summer Bridge? Well, they'll need school uniform, a reusable water bottle, pens or a pencil. Their backpack is optional, and we do not allow cell phones during Summer Bridge. If your child must bring their cell phone, it must be powered off during the program. So what's our Summer Bridge schedule? Well, Monday through Thursday, July 17th through July 20th, from 8 to 8:20 will be community building. 8:25 to 9:45, they'll go to period 1, so they'll be in classrooms with teachers and mentors. 9:50 to 10:05, they'll have recess. 10:10 to 11:30, they'll go back to class with teachers and mentors. 11:30 to 12, they'll meet with the staff, do team building activities, and from 12 to 12:30, it is dismissal. On Friday, July 21st, we're going to a field trip, and so they'll be at school from 8 to 1 p.m. Every day, students can arrive. If they arrive between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, they'll receive a light breakfast. Okay.
When students get dropped off, we want students that are getting dropped off to get dropped off back here in the parking lot. If students are walking to school, then they should enter through the front gate. And if they're getting dropped off or walking to school, they can come in through the front gate. If they're leaving school walking or you're picking them up, but because you parked somewhere and are walking, or you live close enough that you walked, we want you to pick them up in the front. Everyone else that's getting dropped off should be in the back parking lot. We don't want students getting dropped off by car in front of the school. When the school year starts, we try to make this a little more flexible and try to be very safe with where we're dropping people off, but it gets a little more complicated, and we'll deal with that when we get closer to that. At this point, it's only going to be 6th grade parents dropping off, or new parents dropping off kids. You should have enough time just in the back, pull in, drop off, and then keep on driving, and you'll be all right. Once we start dropping off on the streets, it gets a little more complicated, a little messier. There's traffic, and sometimes people stop where there's not a stop sign, and the car behind them is not expecting them to stop, and then they get hit. So we'd like to avoid anyone getting hurt, any cars being in accidents, and we don't want anyone's day starting off with a car accident. So let's go ahead and drop off in the back parking lot. The gate opens 5 minutes before. I think we'll open it at 7:30 right on the dot, and then we'll close it at 8 o'clock. Please don't line up before 7:30. If we see you lined up, we're gonna ask you to just keep driving, and then at 7:30 you can come in, and then we'll open it 5 minutes before dismissal. So during summer bridge, we'll open it at 11:55 Monday through Thursday, and at 12:55 on Friday. We're located in a residential neighborhood, so we can't allow cars to build up and block traffic. The streets are narrow, and we have to be considerate of our neighbors.
So we just went over pickup.
If you,
Go
I
ahead.
got it. If you're picking up students in person, there are a couple of gates in the front where you can pick up your students. If you're picking them up, and this is if you're picking them up walking. Everyone else that's picking up driving will go in the back. You got to make sure that your child is in the back. If they know that you're picking them up by car, we'll send them to the back, and then they'll load up quickly. And then students that are walking home without parents, if you go back one slide, should go out through the front gate. There's 2 gates in the front, one for parents picking up and one for students walking home without parents.
Okay.
And then please no left turn going into the back parking lot. We want you to come down the front entrance, make a right, and then another right. If we're making lefts here, it gets pretty hairy pretty quickly, and the roads are pretty narrow. So it's one of the challenges of being a small school.
So tips for stress-free and successful pickup. Communicate with your students so they know where you will be and can go there immediately upon dismissal. So tell your student, I'll be in the back parking lot, or I'll be at the pickup gate, or you're going to walk to the car. I'll be parked over here. Wait a few minutes and consider picking your child up. This at 3:10, but during summer bridge will be 12:10 when traffic is significantly reduced. Consider a meetup location in walking distance to avoid crowds. Bring your patients with you. We are all doing our best. And then give us feedback on how to improve. Like Mr. Trejo said, it's summer bridge, so it should run fairly smooth. We do the same thing during the school year, but if you have any feedback for us, we love to hear it. So let's talk a little bit more about summer bridge. On July 21st, the students will go to the California Science Center. They'll need their field trip slip signed by that Wednesday, July 19th. So they'll receive their field trip slip on that Monday, their very first day, and we need it back by July 19th. We recommend them bringing sunblock, again, another reusable water bottle, comfortable shoes, and lots of smiles.
Thank you. There's a question in the chat box about if there's any childcare during summer bridge afterwards, if a parent can't pick them up immediately. We don't have childcare or an after-school program during summer bridge. We do have it during the regular school year. One thing I would consider exploring, and we could probably send you that information if you need it, is connecting with the Boys and Girls Club that is in walking distance. It's like literally one block down or on the same block right across the street. They have a summer program that's fairly inexpensive. That it's not free, but it's also not very expensive, especially considering a summer program. That might be an option for those of you that need students to go somewhere for just that week. And I believe they have weekly dues during the summer. If your students are coming to summer bridge, we are not doing COVID testing actively, but we want you, like even before COVID, during COVID, after COVID, monitor your children's symptoms. If they have fever, cough, diarrhea, vomiting, shortness of breath, loss of taste or smell, keep them home. If you need COVID tests, we still have some that have not expired that we can pass out, but we're not doing COVID testing ourselves. If your student is still wearing a face covering, we have some available in the front office, but there is no requirement to wear them at this time unless you're coming back from COVID quarantine. I see a question in the chat box. We will be sending these slides out right after this meeting. Right after this meeting, you'll get an email with slides. And then we do want every student to attend Summer Bridge. We'll have a slide in the very near future about attendance, and we'll talk a little more about that at that point. It's right here. Students are expected to attend all days of Summer Bridge. Ensure that your child is on time. Our assumption is that if we have no communication from you and your child doesn't show up for Summer Bridge, our assumption is that they're not showing up, and so they may lose their spot. If your child can't attend any particular day or all of it, that makes it a little more challenging to get them transitioned with everyone else. The best case scenario is for students to be able to attend all 5 days for a variety of reasons. Like Ms. Andrews said earlier, they get to meet staff, they get to know the campus, they get to make friends, more importantly. They get to connect with other students and not feel like so left alone or lost on the first day of school. They also get caught up on some of the culture pieces. They get the summer reading book that they're expected to read between summer bridge and when school starts. But we also know that life can be challenging. And so if there's any accommodations you need, we need you to reach out immediately. There's nothing we can't work through together with communication. So if you have a special situation, this meeting won't be the place to go situation by situation, but you can call our main office tomorrow between 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and we can get you connected and we can talk together with whatever it is that we need to figure it out. But we're here to support. And like I said, there's no situation that we can't figure out as long as we're communicating with each other. And then before I do that one, Ms. Fletcher, I'm going to message you directly and then get your information, and then I'll continue. We can get you supported tomorrow. School-wide expectations. So yeah, there are specific rules in relation to phones and other things that you'll see in a bit, but we're not going to go over all the rules in terms of keeping your hands to yourself and whatnot. These are the community agreements that we believe that if students, staff, parents, anyone involved in our school community is abiding and following these 5 agreements, then we're going to be okay. If we're attentively listening to each other, if we're being mutually respectful, if we're not putting each other down, but only appreciating, if we acknowledge that there may be times where we don't want to participate, so we're going to pass, but that we do have the right to participate and our voice matters. And if we're being mindful of each other, the space we're in, and how our actions and words affect others, as well as mindful of our own body and feelings, that we're going to be okay. So we try to believe that less is more when it comes to rules and guidelines and expectations. These are the 5 community agreements that we ask for every stakeholder to abide by, including myself, my staff, and our students.
Oh, okay. Please excuse me. It took me to our website.
Whenever we have a meeting, the slides will always be available right after. We'll send them out right after.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about uniform. So uniform is required for Summer Bridge. Students may wear black, khaki, denim, or gray pants or skirts. We do not allow leggings or jeggings. We do not allow ripped jeans, even if leggings are underneath. No revealing clothing such as low-cut shirts, tops, shorts, skirts, dresses above the finger length test. And no hats or hoods in the classroom. Students may wear a solid polo shirt or school-approved t-shirts. For your students specifically, they wouldn't receive those probably until like the second to last day of Summer Bridge, and we'll let you know, hey, they can wear this tomorrow if they'd like. Any outerwear, sweaters, coats, anything like that must be one solid color. What happens if your child is not inappropriate clothing, and if someone is not able to bring the student appropriate clothing? Well, students will trade their inappropriate clothing and an electronic device or something valuable in order to borrow clothing from our discipline team, which we call D-League. At the end of the day, students' property is returned when they return the D-League property, which is the shirt or the appropriate pair of pants. After 3 documented instances, there must be a parent meeting regarding uniform before the student can return to class. So we're mirroring normal school rules here. So we hope that your child wouldn't reach 3 infractions during Summer Bridge, but it's just something to keep in mind as we move into the school year. If our discipline team or D-League is unable to provide clothing and the dress wear is not revealing, then students will attend classes as usual that day, but cannot return without a parent meeting. If D-League is unable to provide clothing and the dress wear is revealing, students will not attend class and must be picked up as soon as possible. Also, they cannot return without a parent meeting. So the bottom line here is please, please, please check your students, make sure they're in appropriate clothing, they're in school uniform.
Before you move on, Ms. Andrews,
Yes.
quiero reconocer que tenemos más gente que en la junta desde que empezamos. Si llegaron tarde y no escucharon que andamos traduciendo esta junta en tiempo vivo, hay un botón en la parte baja de su pantalla, que es un círculo con líneas que parece como el mundo. Allí pueden elegir interpretar en español y también le pueden bajar el volumen al audio original y pueden escuchar todo en español. Para ahorrar tiempo, solo andamos platicando en inglés mientras se traduce en tiempo vivo para poder ahorrar tiempo para ustedes. Go for it.
Also, please, if you've just joined us or you joined us recently, please put your child's name in the chat so we can track who's here. All right, where can you find school uniform? Well, uniform with the ECMSG logo can be found at South Bay Uniforms or the Cactus Threads, and we're working on one other vendor that we will send out as soon as we have it. We will have uniform sales on Monday, July 10th from 9 to 11 a.m. and then again from 12 to 2 p.m. So if you can't make it to either of these stores before then, please join us on Monday, July 10th for our uniform sales on our campus. Students, while we love to see our students with our logo, it's not mandatory. So if a student does not have, if you're comfortable with your student not wearing the ECMSG logo, you can go to the Gardena department store or any retailer, really. You can order the appropriate clothing off Amazon, Target, Old Navy, H&M, or Walmart, or anywhere else that you know sells school uniform during this time.
When it comes to, can you go back one slide?
Yes.
When it comes to the uniform, they're going to have a couple of different prices. Anything with the logo is going to cost you anywhere from $15 to $18. South Bay Uniforms is hardly ever going to have inventory on hand. You're going to go, you're going to pick colors, and then you're going to come back a couple of days later and you're going to have shirts ready to go. Cactus Threads is almost always going to have inventory, but it's going to be basic colors: black, white, blue, nothing too crazy. Now, while we like it with uniform, we also know that like 5 or 6 shirts at uniform can add up, and sometimes it's just cheaper to get a polo shirt without a logo, and that's okay as long as it's one plain color or the logo it has is not huge, or has no logo. So you can get that from Amazon, Target, Walmart, the swap meet. Like, you can get it from anywhere. The logo is nice, but it is not a requirement. When we booked these vendors to come out today, we'll get prices from them and push it out to you in advance, and we'll let you know whether or not they're taking cash, credit, check, or whatnot before that event. When it comes to electronics, though, we do not want students to have their cell phones on, which means we don't want you texting them during the day. If they need to get in touch with you and they have an emergency, they honestly can tell any adult, "Hey, Mr. Trejo, hey, Miss Andrews, there's this thing going on. My aunt's in the hospital. I want to check in on her. Can I pick up my phone?" And most people are going to be very, very reasonable. They can also always go to the office and get a message sent to you or call you from the office. You can also always call our office or communicate with us electronically, and we'll pass a message on to your child. But we really don't want their phones on. It's too distracting for them. I know lots of adults that have a hard time focusing on work while a phone is in their hand. Students at this age, it's almost impossible for them to be able to do it. The part of their brain that helps regulate that the multitasking isn't developed yet when they're entering 6th grade. So we have what we believe is a reasonable escalation of consequences. If a student has their phone out when they're not supposed to, they'll have to turn it into the teacher or the staff member, and then they themselves can pick it up at the end of the day. The second offense, if they have it out after that initial time that they had to pick it up, the second offense, the parent will have to pick up the phone at the end of the day. And anytime a parent is picking up a phone, you should know that your child has already had their phone taken away once. They were given the reminder of the guidelines, the warning, and then it happened again. The third offense, we're going to say at that point, the student has not shown the ability to keep their phone away and not let it distract them. So we want them to turn it in every day in the office. We'll store it safely in a locked container, and they can pick it up at the end of the day if they have to go home walking or whatnot. At any point, whether it's uniform or phone, if a student is out of compliance and they refuse to turn in their phone, or let's say they refuse to take their hoodie off in class, students can have their hoodie on at lunch and break. But if they refuse to take it off, no one's going to physically touch your child and remove it from them. We're not going to snatch phones from their hands. But at that point, we're going to escalate consequences and ask that you keep the phone at home, or for the hoodie, that you buy them a sweater like a crew neck that has no hood, so that we don't have to fight or argue about that or have that daily battle. The battles we want to have are about high level academic discourse, not hoodies or cell phones.
So our main office is here to support you this summer, and they'll be available from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. during the summer. At the start of school, they'll be available from 8 to 4 p.m. They're available by phone or email, and they can assist students and parents with attendance. So again, if your child's going to, for some reason, miss a day of summer bridge, we need to know that ahead of time. If they get ill during summer bridge, please call and let our front office team know. They can help you with accessing PowerSchool, which is an app that we use to check students' grades. You won't need it for summer bridge, but you will need it at the start of school, as well as getting connected with Talking Points, which is the main way that we communicate. So it's my understanding that we've been communicating through SchoolMint, and we'll continue to do so until you all are enrolled in our Talking Points system. But expect by summer bridge to receive information to sign up for Talking Points. Okay, some frequently asked questions. Will there be a parent orientation focusing on expectations for the school year on another date? Well, we'll have coffee with staff on Friday, August 18th from 9 to 10:30 a.m. There you will receive your handbook, your student schedule, review school expectations, and you get to speak to various school staff about anything you may be concerned about. Okay. Students, are the students expected to attend all of summer bridge? Yes, students are expected to attend all of summer bridge starting July 17th through July 21st. So again, if you already know it's a possibility your student may be out, we need to know, because we do want to make sure that they have a smooth transition to middle school or into our school, and this helps significantly with that. What if your student misses one day of summer bridge or is unable to attend due to an emergency? Well, attendance is taken daily, and we are expecting your child to attend every day. So therefore, we're asking that you please call our main office so that we can be updated if your child isn't going to attend. Do I, as a parent, need to attend summer bridge with my child? No. You are only required to attend the summer bridge orientation. After this, you send your child to us on the 17th, and we take it from there. Will your student be provided lunch during summer bridge? Yes, they'll be provided lunch every day. They also can bring healthy snacks. I want to emphasize healthy snacks. So chips and candy and things of that nature will not be allowed on campus, but fruit and nuts and, healthier options will be allowed. Okay, questions. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that I can see the chat box at this time and answer questions. Let's see. Yes, so I see where it says, is summer bridge attendance mandatory? Yes, it is. Again, I think Mr. Trejo shared this, but we will provide the slides after this meeting. And there you can also find where you can purchase the polo shirts with the logo.
I see a question about a student store. It's something that has been brought up a couple different times by students, and I'm happy to sponsor a student store. We just need students to initiate the idea. What we've had in the past is students come and they have the idea of a student store, and I say, that's a great idea, come back with a plan, and then they never come back. So I'm happy to sponsor and follow through with students, but if it's going to be a student store, I really want it to be student driven. So if your child has that drive, have them come meet with me on day one, and we'll figure something out together. But I tell parents, students, and staff, ideas are easy and free. Plans take some work, and I approve plans, not ideas. But I would love to have a student store next year.
I think the question about how much will they be was regarding the uniform, and so we'll have an actual price list to you soon, hopefully by Friday, if not sooner. But you can expect, I think, like Mr. Trejo said, about $15 to $18 for the logo. It may be just a tad bit higher, but I don't think it exceeds $20 for the polo. And I know some of our vendors will allow you to buy the shirt, bring it to them, and they'll put it on. They'll put the logo on that, and that'll be less money.
Yeah, when we show you the Cactus Threads that's in Lawndale, does that with shirts. You can bring the shirt in or sweater, and they'll put the polo on for. Last time I checked, it was $5, but inflation may have raised that a buck or two. Students are allowed to bring their own lunch as long as we don't have to heat it up for them. We don't have enough microwaves or staff standing by for us to offer that service to everyone. So we ask that you not send them anything that has to get microwaved. If your child has food allergies, we'll have a special lunch delivered for them on a daily basis, as long as it's on file with our staff. So if you've already done your enrollment paperwork, there should be somewhere for that to be identified. But if after you finish your enrollment paperwork, there's nowhere that asks for the food allergy, just stop by our office and let them know that there's a food allergy, and then our food vendor will adjust accordingly. Students can absolutely have their hats in their backpack to walk home. Honestly, we're okay with them even wearing them at break and lunch if they're appropriate. They just have to take them off during class time.
Are there any more questions? Go ahead, Maria.
I'm sorry, how you speak Spanish?
Está bien, le podemos traducir. Ojalá que vio mi mensaje, porque vi que llegó tarde y le mandé mensaje porque hay un botón para interpretación y puede escuchar todo en español, pero nos puede hacer cualquier pregunta en español y yo lo voy a traducir en inglés.
Ok. Ok. Ay, disculpe. Le muevo, pero no. Bueno, lo que pasa que yo tenía una pregunta, para el 17 de julio, al parecer tienen que presentarse los niños una semana, los nuevos estudiantes.
Sí.
Yo tengo una salida que ya teníamos planeada de hace tiempo. Entonces coincidió justamente con las fechas que necesitan que se presenten a la escuela. No sé si hay algún problema con eso.
Quiero que me haga favor y nos hable a la oficina mañana entre las 8 y la 1. Le vamos a mandar, ¿usted agarró noticia de esta junta por mensaje texto o por correo electrónico?
Correo electrónico, nada más que se me fue la onda como hoy fueron las inauguraciones.
Está bien. A ese correo electrónico le vamos a mandar esta presentación y allí tienen nuestro número telefónico. Nos habla mañana entre la 8 a la 1 y vamos a poder discutir todo. The question was about conflicts of scheduling during July 17th through the 21st of Summer Bridge. So I told them, I'm telling anyone that has a conflict to call us between 8 to 1 p.m. and when we can support you with every case by case basis.
Yes. What day?
Will there be a field trip on the week of orientation?
The week of Summer Bridge? Yes, the field trip is July 21st. So that Friday, students will have a field trip to the California Science Center. They'll be back to school by 1 p.m. So that's why it's just like a 30-minute difference by 1 p.m.
Any other questions? You can unmute yourself. You can raise your virtual hand. You can turn on your camera and unmute.
Yes, we'll send this information to your email. You should be getting it about 6 p.m.
However, whatever message way that you got. Oh, what about the people that only receive the text message?
That's a great question. If you received it through Talking Points, I can work with my front office to schedule it through Talking Points.
Yeah. So she says she doesn't actually have an email address. So what we can actually do is we can link it in this presentation right now as a view access only document. And then we'll be able to do that. So I'm going to type something into the chat box. Those of you that have an email on file don't need to do anything. You're going to receive it via email. Those of you who need it in a different way can click on there and save that link in a different browser, and you should be able to view it later.
You know what else? I think if you received this Zoom meeting through text, then it'll come to your phone through text as well. The system is pretty smart that way, that it'll communicate in the way that you usually receive it, because we're just sending it through our school system. No, you do not. Any important documents you can start submitting now. Our front office is open 8 to 1 p.m. The sooner the better. That way they aren't reaching out to you until, repeatedly for those documents. So I would say call our front office or come in between 8 and 1 to submit those documents.
Yeah, the documents, we want them as quickly as possible. If you get your students testing results from state testing, bring that in. If they have an IEP, LPAC testing, language testing, anything that they have, bring it in so we can support them as quickly as possible.
Nice.
Great.
Are there any other questions? Okay. If not, then you all are free to log off. Just please make sure you put your student's name in the chat before you leave today. And you all are free to log off. We'll stay behind for a few minutes for folks who may, for something that may have just popped up in your head as a question.
And Ms. Andrews, one thing we should send out as a good reminder is our blackout week, July 3rd through July 6th. All our offices will be closed. It won't be us ignoring you. We're just shutting everything down for a week to let our staff breathe and get ready for the new year.
Yes. So if you probably would want to bring in any documents this week and next week, or the week before summer bridge, but not the week of 4th of July.
If you put your child's name in the chat box, you don't have to do it again, but if you haven't done it yet, now it's a good time to do it.
And if there's no more questions, you all are free to go. I'll end the meeting as I see people are logging off.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Joshua.
Alrighty.
I had a quick question. Sorry.
That's okay.
Go for it. We don't
I
have your
was just
name. It just says iPhone, so go for it.
Oh, okay. I hope I put my son's name in the chat. It's Noah Drake. And I'm April, but I hope that I put his name in there.
I did see his name in there. How can we help you?
Okay, good. So my son, he's obviously he's new. He's going into 6th grade, and he will have to take the Gardena bus. Are there other students that you know of that take bus transportation?
Yes, and I think we have bus passes, don't we, Corey?
Yes, we do.
Okay, because this is going to be his first time ever taking public transportation. I was blessed to be able to take him to and from school, but my schedule is changing. So I was just hoping that there would be other kids on, the Gardena bus.
There
Yes.
are other students that take the bus. Another thing that we could also do is as soon as we have everyone enrolled, we have an what we call like an address map where we can just
Okay.
click on your name in our database and it shows us other parents that are nearby. Sometimes it's really
Okay.
easy because the student will be like, oh, that's one of my friends. And then like we have a new friendship. Sometimes we
Okay.
introduce people and then they like establish carpools. Not always a guarantee, but if you live relatively close in the like Gardena, Inglewood, Hawthorne area, we generally have some families in clusters.
Okay, great. Yes. Yeah, we're fairly close. We're like right on in between Vermont and Budlong on 120th. So we're not that far.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
we
then how do I obtain the bus pass?
Yes. So I will let our school social worker know to reach out to you, but also you can just come into the front office 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And ask for Mr. Moreno and he'll make sure you get the bus pass, but I'll ask him to reach out to you tomorrow so you guys can schedule a time.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you.